Hello, friends. We are back and we are reading from our book, Fables. We know the fables are short stories that give us a moral or a lesson at the end. We also know that within this book, each story or chapter gives us the main idea, and we're looking for details today. So we know the title of this book is called The Hippopotamus at Dinner. Now let's zoom in and focus on the pictures here. Now, after close inspection, at first we may think that this maybe could be a bed, but I know that this is about dinner time. So now I can see that this looks like a broken table. I also know that it's at night because there's the moon out. All right, let's read and see if you can find any details at home that go along with our main idea. Ready? Let's jump in. The hippopotamus went into a restaurant. He sat at his favorite table. "Waiter," cried the hippopotamus, "I will have the bean soup, the Brussels sprouts, and the mashed potatoes." "Please hurry. I am enormously hungry tonight." In a short while, the waiter returned with the order. The hippopotamus glared down at his plate. Glared could also mean to stare. "Waiter," he said, "do you call this a meal? These portions are much too small. They would not satisfy a bird. I want a bathtub of bean soup, a bucket of Brussels sprouts, and a mountain of mashed potatoes. I tell you, I have an appetite." The waiter went back into the kitchen. He returned carrying enough bean soup to fill a bathtub, enough Brussels sprouts to fill a bucket, and a mountain of mashed potatoes. In no time, the hippopotamus had eaten every last morsel. "Delicious," said the hippopotamus. He dabbed his mouth with a napkin and prepared to leave. To his surprise, he could not move. His stomach, which had grown considerably larger, was caught between the table and the chair. He pulled and tugged, but it was no use. He could not budge. The hour grew late. The other customers in the restaurant finished their dinners and left. The cooks took off their aprons and put away their pots. The waiters cleared the dishes and turned out the lights. They all went home. The hippopotamus remained there, sitting forlornly at the table. That's just a big word for sad. "Perhaps I should not have eaten quite so many Brussels sprouts," he said as he gazed into the gloom of the darkened restaurant. Occasionally, he burped. Okay, so before we go into the moral or the lesson, we're going to go back and see if we can spot any of those details in the picture here that we talked about that goes along with the main idea. I know that it grew dark. That's a detail from the story because he wasn't able to budge. He was stuck there. We can see that the table is keeping him there because his stomach grew because he ate so much at dinner time. So here we're using our pictures for clues. Can you think of anything else as far as details in the story that goes along with the main idea? All right, so what about this? He wanted enough Brussels sprouts to fill a what? You said bucket, you are correct. What about enough bean soup to fill a? You said bathtub, you're also correct. And what about mashed potatoes? He wanted enough mashed potatoes to make a? You said mountain, you're correct. Those are all details from the story. Now let's go in and look at our moral or lesson. Let's see if we can make any predictions. All right, so we know that this is the moral of the lesson. Too much of anything often leaves one with a feeling of regret. So even though Hippopotamus demanded he get extra and heaps and mountains full of food, he was regretting it because after everyone left the restaurant and it was late at night, he was stuck there and couldn't move. He realized he definitely bit off more than he could chew. Okay, so that is it for our read aloud. I really hope you enjoyed it. Signing off.